Ever catch yourself, like, daydreaming about a better world?
Yeah.
Not talking, like, full-on utopia, but,
Right.
a place where things are just a bit more
More,
good, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Well, that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
The whole idea of the kingdom of God.
Ah, interesting.
And before you think we've gone all, like, harps and clouds,
Yeah.
this podcast, Kingdom of God in Focus, really flipped the script for us.
Yeah, it's not about, like, floating on clouds, is it?
No, not all.
It's more about, what was it, how we can, like, actually live those ideals now, right?
Exactly. Love, justice, peace, the whole 9 yards. They were really adamant that it's not some, like, passive waiting game.
Right.
Remember how they described the kingdom of God as a state of being?
Yes, the way of life, yeah.
Yeah, and it just clicked. Like, it reminded me of how Jesus used all those parables, those down-to-earth stories.
To get a bigger point across.
Yes, to explain these really profound truths.
And they weren't just, like, nice stories, were they? They were designed to kind of shake things up a bit.
Oh, for sure. And what I found so interesting was how the podcast connected that back to our lives. They said when we get our inner world, our hearts and minds,
Right.
aligned with these principles, it's like this ripple effect outward.
It changes things, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So then the question becomes, how do we actually live that out?
The million-dollar question, right?
Right. And they dug into some pretty big ideas like love and mercy.
Which, on the surface sound pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But then, like,
It happens.
yeah, exactly. Putting it into practice is a whole other ballgame.
Mm.
And this is where I think the podcast got really powerful. Like, we've all heard Love Thy Neighbor a million
A
times.
dozen times. Right.
But they challenged us to really think about what that means. Seeing people through God's eyes, not just our own limited perspective.
It's like that story they shared about the woman who felt this nudge to help someone in her community. But instead of just giving money, which is, easy,
Right.
she actually sat with the person and just listened to their story.
Wow.
And it turned out that human connection was exactly what they needed most in that moment.
See, that's real love, isn't it?
It is.
Not just trying to fix everything, but just being present.
Exactly. Though, let's be real, living this out in the real world,
Oh, tell me about it.
it's messy. It's not always sunshine and rainbows.
It's tough. And they didn't shy away from that.
Mhm.
Like, how do we hold on to these principles when, frankly, the world feels like the opposite of a kingdom sometimes?
Right.
I love how they talked about the importance of community. You're not meant to do this alone.
Yeah, like a support system for your soul.
Exactly. Surround yourself with people who get it, who can lift you up when you stumble.
And for me, their big takeaway was this. We're not waiting for some, like, magical kingdom to appear. We are called to be the kingdom right here, right now.
It's about the everyday stuff.
Exactly. Not these grand gestures, but the little things we do each day.
Those small choices that add up, like, being kind, even when that other driver totally cuts you off. Or offering grace when someone messes up, just like we hope they do for us.
It's about choosing to bring those values, those kingdom values, into every interaction.
Yeah.
So, to sum it all up,
Yeah.
it's less about waiting for a kingdom to come and more about rolling up our sleeves and building it ourselves.
One kind word, one helpful act, one choice at a time. I like that.
Right. So here's the question we'll leave you with. What's one small but powerful way you can embody those kingdom principles today?
Something to think about.